Welcome back to the channel. It's your resident internet psychic medium and spiritual advisor, and today I'm about to call you out. So today we're going to be talking about overflow, right? We talk about manifesting. That's a really big thing in the spiritual community. We talk about abundance, and oh my God, we got to be abundant in the mind and abundant in the wallet, right? But the part that people don't address is that how are you supposed to be abundant when it hasn't occurred to you that maybe you should be trying to receive overflow? What do I mean by that? So when people are trying to manifest, and you probably have done this yourself, people have a tendency to ask for just enough. You want that house, you ask for just enough to buy the house. You want that car, you ask for just enough to buy that car. Or even if you just want to check, you think of like a specific number, maybe it's 10 grand. You got to learn how to dream big. But you stop at 10 grand. It doesn't ever occur to you to say 10,001. And the problem with manifesting in general is, one, having a blockage around receiving, but then there's an additional blockage about receiving extra, right? Excess, overflow. This causes resistance. It's an energetic resistance because you're like, give me more. I want to manifest. And so the energy is like, yeah, hell yeah, I'm here for that. But then you're like, but not too much. And then it's like, doesn't know what to do, right? It's like stopping on a basketball court, like, well, where do we go? We thought you wanted it, but like now you're like, because when you're manifesting, you're supposed to just be open to receiving, right? But we go, yeah, I'm open to receive, but I'm open to receiving this much. And a lot of the times it's not even conscious. It's not even a conscious thing that you're doing, that you're stopping the amount that you're receiving. You're open to the receipt, but then you're stopping it. So if, let's say you want $10,000, and I can hear some of you. Some people are like, Rain, seriously, $10,000? Like when I'm asking for like 1,000. Like, no, we're going to get you comfortable with asking for more than you're used to asking for. We're going to hold that $10,000 and you're going to put it in your energetic field, and you're not going to feel like you have to throw up. Okay. But when it's trying to get to you, maybe it's 10,001. Maybe you just ask for 10,000. And for whatever reason, however the energy worked itself out, it came in a clump with an extra. But if you're so caught on the specific amount and it not being extra, well, then where does that 10,001 go? It was headed to you, but shit, now it's no longer in alignment. It's no longer the frequency, because you wanted 10,000, not 10,001. And 10,001 is a different frequency. So what do? A super common example of people doing this is people that start maybe like a small business, and oftentimes when people start small businesses, they struggle with the pricing of services, of goods. They don't know how much to charge. They are caught between charging what they want or charging too much because, what if people don't actually have that to give? Or, what if people don't think it's worth that much? Or, is my service, what do I think about how much my service is actually worth? What do I think about how much my time is actually worth? Maybe this is the first time I'm doing this. Maybe I don't have any background information to verify or validate how much is actually worth. And so what people do, they price low. And they go, well, I don't know how much people are willing to pay for it. The problem that I have with this is, just by default, you will always view yourself from a harsher lens than what other people view you, right? Our worst enemy is ourselves, right? So if you think you're worth whatever number, that hands down is usually less than what you're actually worth, because again, we have the harsher lens. It is also not your job to decide how much money is in somebody else's wallet, how much money is in somebody else's bank account. And to be honest, it's really none of your business. You have to get out of feeling like you can't ask for what you want, that you can only ask for what you think other people can afford, or only ask for what you think the universe will give you, or only asking for what you think you deserve. Because the problem with feeling deserving and feeling worthy, it's never correct. How much worth you have for yourself is never how much you should actually value yourself. It's never the actual worth that you should actually have for yourself. Growing worth for self is like a lifelong journey, right? It's always going to be less than what it should actually be. Meaning that if you use that as a compass, you will always ask for less than what you should actually have. There's also this idea too that when you're working through manifestation, that you're working with the universe, you're working with God, you're working with the angels, there is this sort of unspoken about narrative and manifestation where it's like you have to like ask for it, and then but you're asking like this being in the clouds, right? And then like this being is making a judgment decision and deciding how much you get and then handing out the judgment, right? In the name of what you originally asked to manifest. And so people wait, and there's like a prayer. And by the way, I'm not saying that there's anything like wrong with prayer, right? But there's like a prayer that goes into it, but the prayer is done in a way where you are taking the power that you have to create and you're handing it over to another power instead of you holding on to that power yourself. So a lot of times people will say, I really want to manifest this thing. They turn to God or whomever to manifest, and they wait for God to give it to them. Instead of thinking, you know what, I'm going to work with you. Help me, help you, you help, like I help you, you help me. Like people don't look at it as like a relationship where there's like cooperation that goes into it, cooperating with the actual energy. People feel like they have to make it, have to create it, right? Some people want to manifest a house. They think, oh, I got to create this house. I got to create this house. And honestly, unless you're building the house, you don't have to create the house. The house is already standing, right? Oh, I got to find the money. I want X amount of dollars. You know, I need X amount. I got to find the money. Honey, what are you finding when it's already printed? You don't have to find anything. It's just in the wrong account. And if you can alter your thinking about where the money is and realize you're not pulling it out of the ethers, it's not coming from the sky, okay? It exists. It's printed already. It's real. There's nothing you have to create. You just have to decide that you want it in this account, not that account. Now that I'm bringing this to your attention, we are going to fix this problem. I am going to help you get rid of this blockage that you have to receiving excess. But in order for me to do it, I'm going to have to trigger you a little bit. So, shall we start? Let's start with first finding it. We have to find your block, and we have to find where it's sitting in the body, because it's somewhere in the body, right? So in order for us to do this, I'm going to take you down a reflection time. I want you to think about, go all the way back to your childhood, and think about what would happen every time you tried to get more of something. You wanted more ice cream. What did your caregiver or adult say to you? Was there ever a time in life when someone called you greedy? Did you ever want a second plate of food and somebody called you out for eating too much? Was there a time when you were a kid, when you were playing with a toy, but then you were told that you had to share, you couldn't have the toy all to yourself? Has there ever been a time when an adult said, just take what you need? Did anybody say, only take what you need, don't take more than that, save it for the next person coming? I'll wait. I'll give you guys a moment. Now, let's grow up a little bit. Think about adulthood, walking into adulthood. Now you're an adult, you have taken on everything that came from your caregivers, all the teachings and the subliminal messages that came from your caregivers. Think about how that may have been acted out in your adult life. When it was time to make your rent or your mortgage, what did you say? I just need enough to pay my rent. I just need enough to pay my mortgage. I just need enough to pay my bills. Whenever you were looking for a new job and you were looking at how much that job pays, what do you think? I need enough for my bills, my rent, my mortgage, the things I need to take care of. I just need to make enough for that. This comes out with fun stuff too, right? Like, have you ever wanted to go to a concert or just go out having fun with your friends or something like that? Or maybe you wanted to go on vacation or something like that. And your friends were like, hey, let's go. And you in your mind was like, okay, I just need enough money to go on vacation, or I just need enough money to be able to pay for this concert, or I just need, how many times have you said, I just need enough to do this. I just need enough to have that. If I only had enough, if I only had just enough, right? I bet it was often. Where is that coming from, right? Probably a caregiver, maybe a parent, maybe a mother. For me, it was my mother. My mother always needed just enough, or she barely had just enough. Or, when we would go to the grocery store, she'd pull out the change in her pockets and count it because it was only just enough, right? She never was like, oh, I have more than that. I want more than that. I also never saw my mother ask for more than just enough. She never asked for more than what she needed because that was all she needed. And so a lot of you guys do that. How many times has someone offered you gum, candy, a potato chip? Maybe they're offering you food and they go, hey, you want some? And the first thing you do, you may go, nah, it's okay. Even though you kind of like really want it. No, it's okay. They have to come back twice. No, it's okay. You want some? You go, okay, I'll just have one. How many of you have done that? I'll just take one. When really you wanted like two or three, right? You, along the way, have picked up this narrative and you live your life through it, and you probably were not even aware that you were even doing it, right? You were just taking just enough of a potato chip. You only took one M&M when it was offered to you, instead of going in when someone said, you want some M&Ms? And you like took a handful. People don't do that. They take just one, right? And it's just enough, right? Go back. Where did it start? It was somewhere in childhood when you were either told to share your toys, or you couldn't have that more ice cream, or you were being greedy, or you're asking for too much. And so what happened? You stopped asking for too much. So now that you have a good idea of where it's come from, I want you to take a minute to think about, how does it feel? If someone says to you, you're being greedy, what does that feel like when they say that? If they accuse you of being greedy, or if they accuse you of taking too much, what does it feel like? What happens? Are you like, oh, I didn't mean it? Do you feel embarrassed? Do you feel guilty? Do you feel ashamed? Where is it? What are you feeling when that happens, right? Do you feel gluttonous, right? If it's ever been a situation where you wanted more food and someone has said, oh, look at them eating. Does it make you feel gluttonous, fat, even though you were just hungry? How did you feel? What was that feeling you picked up? Because it's something negative typically, right? What is that feeling? And then think about, where is it sitting in the body? If I say to you, oh, look at you being greedy, where is it? Is it here? Right? Is it in the stomach? Do you feel like you want to throw up? Does your chest get tight? Does it feel like anxiety? Where is it in the body? Oftentimes, when these things would happen to us, especially in our formative years, things like you're being too greedy or asking for too much was usually enforced. There was usually a consequence for doing it again, right? For example, if it's a toy situation and you had a sibling or a cousin and you were told to share, typically the parent takes the toy away. Oh, you can't share? Well, nobody gets it. Were you yelled at? Did someone express disappointment? What were the consequences of you having excess? You have to acknowledge that too. So pairing the consequences with, where is it sitting in your body? Because if you're still having trouble trying to find it, because some of you, I feel like, are sitting there going, is it here? Is it here? Is it here? Is it here? Right? Think about that consequence that happened. If you did get yelled at, if you had something taken away from you, think about, how would you feel if it happened in this moment? If someone did it right now, in this moment, where would it go? Where is it? In here? In the stomach? It will usually sit in the chest or in the stomach. That's usually where something like that will go. It doesn't have to be there. Some people tense up in other places in the body, but I would say check there first. The reason why it has a tendency to sit in that area is because whether or not we like it, our connection to money and material resources is usually emotional, because a lot of us have had experiences where it was taken away, right? And it hurt us. It hurt our feelings. It made us scared. It made us angry. It was taken away from us, because how do you take away the resource I need to survive? And that's an emotional experience. And so that's why it has a tendency to live in that area, particularly the heart space and maybe sitting in the chest. So now that we have identified the block, I'm going to help you get rid of it. And this is where you get triggered. So if you're just not there emotionally today, pause the video, come back. Because if you end up in my comments, I'm going to be really upset because I gave you a lot of warnings, okay? Everybody close your eyes. Close them. Close them. I said close your eyes. I want you to see that energy field. Observe the color. What color is it? Is it just black? Is it like a hole? Does it look muddy? Does it look like there's spots in it, right? Like spots and specks of dirt. Observe the energy field. Where is it in the body? And just observe it, right? Because right now you're an observer. You're an observer because now you're conscious, you're now aware, and now you are working with your higher self. So just observe it. Where is it? What color is it? Keep your eyes shut, okay? Observe it. Where is it? Then I want you to picture yourself walking up to that energy field and walking around it in a circle. You're doing a 360 around that energy field. This is the first time you have had the big picture. This is the first time you have had the opportunity to have a full understanding of what happened, of where it started, of who said what, of how it made you feel, and how you took it with you throughout life. And as you're observing it in a 360 and as you're walking around it, you're going to do so without judgment, without blame. Don't judge yourself for holding it because you didn't even know you had it in the first place. We're just going to walk around it. We're just going to observe it. And those of you that have opened your eyes, I need you to close them again, okay? I know that this is the internet, but I'm a psychic and I can sense it. Now, you are going to finish your final rotation around this energy field and you're going to stop in front of it looking at it without judgment. You're going to thank it for the lessons that it has taught you, and you are now going to start the process of lovingly dismissing it because it no longer serves you. Energy cannot be created or destroyed, but it can be transformed and transferred. So we're going to transform it and we're going to transfer it out of the body. So again, with your eyes shut, you're going to take a deep breath and you are going to push the air out. It needs to be the hardest out breath you've ever had. Hard. You want it to be as almost like that nursery rhyme of the three little pigs, right? With the big bad wolf. And I huff and I puff and I blow your house down. You want to blow so hard that you're blowing down a house. Inhale. Exhale. Blow it out. Inhale. Exhale. Blow it out. Push it out of the body. Inhale. Exhale. Do this 3 to 5 times, as many times as you feel like it needs in order to push it out of the back of your body. And when you're done, you open your eyes. You will start to feel a release. Some of you will have goosebumps. Some of you will start to cry because there's nothing occupying that energetic space anymore. It's now free. And the things that it was holding is going to come with you. For some of you, it's going to be the releasing of trauma because maybe someone did say something to you that was really helpful or hurtful and it hurt you and you held it. And so now that it's gone, it may come out in the form of tears. Some of you may not feel anything, but tomorrow, all of these things. You'll start to have all of these revelations, and things will start coming to light that didn't make sense yesterday or today, but now make sense tomorrow. That's okay too. You're going to be feeling the release of it, right? Some of you it's going to feel good at first. Some of you are going to feel real triggered because you have now identified and addressed something that you didn't even know that you had, right? But now that that energy is gone, you now have the ability to accept an excess because the thing that was blocking your excess is no longer there. I hope that that was incredibly helpful and that you guys have a new perspective. I will make videos later too on how you can actually get more, okay? But I have a sense that some of you need a minute to process everything that just happened, and then that is okay. I sincerely hope that that was something that was really helpful. If for whatever reason you feel like nothing really came out of it now and you're just not there, it's possible that when you clicked on this video, you didn't know that this was happening. So you just weren't prepared or you weren't in the headspace, and that's fine. Come back to this video at a different time when you are calmer and you are in the headspace that you need to be in order to do this practice of releasing the block, right? Remember, you're the big bad wolf. And if you maintain that ideology, there is nothing that you can't get. That will bring me to the end of this video. If you like what you see, please subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you all soon.